Hey, how's it going, everybody out there? This is Sarasota Tim. My name is Tim, obviously, and today's video, I want to talk to you about Social Security once again. My channel, Sarasota Tim, grew by the algorithm picking me up talking about Social Security. I started drawing my Social Security when I was 62 years old, the very earliest age you could. I did it for two reasons. One, I wanted it, and two, I was sort of forced into it because when I became 62 is when we had our pandemic and my business was stopped temporarily, and I had to have a source of income. I, like a lot of people, have heard about waiting and it's crazy, or it's, not crazy, but it's not a good idea possibly if you can wait, if you don't need the money to let your Social Security continue to grow and then collect it at a later age, up to 5 years out, or even 8 years out to age 70 before collecting it to get this larger check that you can enjoy for the rest of your life. Of course, what they don't tell you is half of your life and more of your life, most of your life is gone if you do that, the latter. But collecting it early while you're still relatively young, in my opinion, it should be at 55 years old that we should be able to retire and receive the earnings that we've paid into the Social Security Administration. But that's another story. It's 62 years old. And to keep this video simple, I'm going to round up the numbers. Instead of 52, 78, 67, I will, round everything up. And also the full retirement age, if you're born after 1960, today, those of you watching me that aren't 62 yet and would like to consider getting your Social Security, your full retirement age to get the full amount of your Social Security will be when you're 67 years old. If you're born before 1960, like myself, born in December of 1958, I will be 65 in a couple of weeks here in 2023. And my full retirement age is actually 66 years old plus 8 months. So we're going to use the full retirement age of 67, and we're going to talk about drawing your Social Security at 62. So there's a 5-year spread. And, there's a big reason that, and I've covered all these in previous videos, but in the videos, I have convinced hundreds, if not thousands of people that have reached out to me that have decided to take their Social Security at 62 years old, for all the reasons we might mention a few of them in this video. But a lot of people actually didn't even know that they were eligible to take Social Security at 62. They were under the impression they had to wait until they were full retirement age. So let's get into it. Let me start the video with saying that this is going to be not a repeat of the many videos I've made, and I'm probably one of the most popular people on YouTube that talk about drawing Social Security at 62 years old. That's why my channel grew so big. That's why I have millions of views on a few different videos regarding this topic. That's because it was interesting. It was hitting home. It makes sense. And so people, gave it a thumbs up and shared the video. And so most people, and I'll probably convince thousands more with this video because it got some very, very interesting numbers that I was unaware of myself, kind of aware, but wasn't really aware. So here we are drawing to the year 2024. This is 2023 December, and things are going to go up, and including prices on everything, and another reason why you should collect your Social Security at 62 years old. But before we begin the video, I want to start by saying what average incomes are currently in the United States. Okay? I got the numbers right here. The average income is $31,000 a year per person. For the average person. Now, that doubles. If you want to divide every single income, salary, I should say, every salary in the United States divided by every possible worker in the United States, it's an average of $60,000 a year per person. That's counting all the, the richest people in the world making whatever they're making, the CEOs of corporations and all of that, throwing the average in. But if you really take out those 5 or 10% of those people, or 2% that are making that huge, huge money, millions and millions of dollars a year, the average person's making $31,000 a year. That's what it is on Google. The average median income per household is $75,000. It might be 74 and change. I told you I am rounding up. So you get 31 grand and you've got 75 grand per household. And then you've got 60 grand by dividing every salary in America by every worker in America. So you can see what the numbers are there. Use your own numbers and follow along. So how many of these people are actually making this money, this 30 grand, this 60 grand, this millions a year? Well, I've got it for you right here. If you make between $25,000 and $30,000 a year, you're in the 7.6% category. If you make between $35,000 and $50,000 a year, you are in the 10.6%. $50,000 to $75,000 a year, you're at 16.5%, the highest category. And then if you make $75,000 to $99,000 a year, you are in 12.3% of the people. And then for people making $335,000 a year and over, into the millions or whatever, is 5%. Now we always hear about the 2%, the top 2%. Well, those are not making 300 grand a year. They're making millions. So they use 5% from 335,000 up. But we just saw that the highest percentile, and it makes sense because how could you live on much less, is between, at the 16.2%, is the 35 to 50 grand a year. And I'm sure you would agree that a lot of people, do make 30, 40, 50, 60 grand a year. But that's the majority. I mean, that's like most people you meet. You don't know too many people in the medical field, CEOs, GMs and partners in restaurants and all these things that people are making the big money. That's true. But my pen was falling apart here. But let's work with the numbers now, okay? You with me? So now, if you're making between the 50 and 75,000, we're going to go with 60 grand because that number was actually what all people make. If you take all salaries of all people, all workers, everybody, you got 60 grand. Not a bad number. I mean, I'm sure if I walked out here and talked to 10 people and said, come to work for me, shoveling horse manure or sitting in a cubicle working on a computer all day, and I'll give you 60 grand a year salary, I'm sure I'd have plenty of people lined up ready to take the job because those aren't available to just every day. Most people are in that $31,000 bracket. So 60 grand's pretty good money. Now, would you agree? I think so. All right. So now, you're making 60 grand a year. We got all that worked out now of the percentages of people. Now let's talk about a guy like me that retired and got his Social Security at 62 years old. I collect $1,750 a year, a month, I should say, and I've made that very public because the average salary, the average check for a Social Security recipient is very negligible. Very few make much more than that, and very few make a lot less than that. The exception to the rule are people that were very high earners that paid a lot in and collected at 62. I'm not talking about people that are waiting until they're 67 or 70. I'm talking about everybody that took it at 62. People that are making more than $1,750 a month. They were high earners because it's based on your best 35 years earnings. And then the people that make a whole lot less than that are generally people that were homemakers that either didn't work most of their lives, they were under the table doing something, or they were a homemaker and they just didn't make a lot. So they could get as little as $600 or $800 or $900, a month Social Security. In those situations, if they happen to be in a relationship or married, they can actually draw half of their spouse's Social Security if it's a lot more. And if it's any more than what they would get on their own, they could have the higher of the two. You can't get both, but you can get the higher of the two. So there's always a little help, hopefully, for people like that if they're married. All right, so let's get back to me. I get $1,750 a month, which is $21,000 a year. Now, I have an earnings limit. When you're on Social Security at 62 and you quit your job, Social Security says the most money you can make without a penalty, without us taking some of your money back, which is $1 for every $2 over 23 grand. That's what it's going to be next year and next month in less than 30 days. I could make $23,000 next year. It's up $1,000 from last year. So it's even more than I'm getting on my Social Security. So with the 21 grand I'm going to get in Social Security next year, and the $23,000 I'm allowed to earn in addition to my Social Security next year, is a total of $44,000. Okay, so that's more than the $31,000 that the average guy is probably making, and it's less than if you divide the person that's getting the average of every salary in America divided by all the salaries, which are very few. So I'm right there still by being retired and working part-time, not 40, not 50 hours a week, just maybe however much it takes to make 23 grand a year. I mean, you might be able to do that in 6 months. You might be able to do that in a few hours a day. You might be able to do that in 2 days a week. You might be able to do it in 3 or 4 days a week. You might be able to do it in all kinds of ways, but you should be able to make $23,000 a year. If $31,000 is kind of like what average worker makes, you can see that you definitely wouldn't have to work 40 hours a week to make 23 grand. So now, what have you got? You've got $21,000 free money. I call it free money, your money that you paid into your Social Security based on your best 35 years of earnings, that you don't have to work to earn that. You get all that time off, however many hours it takes or days a week that you would earn in a year, $21,000. They say you can go home. You don't have to do anything. And then to get back to where, you were making the 31 grand that the person makes on average, but less than the 60 grand of the other number we talked about, $44,000, you only got to work a little bit and you get to choose. And, a lot of employers that are hiring people they don't have to give benefits to, that want to work part-time, the employee calls the shots. Because when you want to go to work and get all the benefits, and you're going to work 40 hours a week, not only are they demanding that you be there on time until the minute and get your 40 hours to 50 hours a week in, they're also micromanaging you, making sure they're getting every single dollar out of you in that prison job, that's what I call them, that they're going to get out of you, because they're paying in your Social Security, half of it. They're paying you benefits. You're part of a group health insurance possibly. You might receive bonuses. You might be entitled to sick days. You might get all these benefits that they offer you if you're a full-time employee. Well, the caveat to that is you got to toe the line. You got to toe the rope. You can't just get all these benefits and them not expect everything they can get out of you to get that. So don't forget that. Don't forget that. They want every dime worth out of you. All right, so back to me. I can make 23 grand a year if it never goes up. It went up $1,000 from last year to 2024. It's going to continue to go up. But we're going to say right now, when I said earlier in the video, that we're not going to talk exact numbers, and we're going to just round off. And we're also going to freeze. These numbers that I'm about to present to you are numbers that will never grow. They are etched in stone. You're not going to get another penny. This is what we're talking about. And of course, it's going to be a lot more, because there's COLA increases, there's salary increases, there's cost of living, there's all of these different earnings caps that'll be going up. But we're not going to confuse it. We're going to just leave it what it is, starting January of 2024, based on my $1,750 and my 23 grand allowable income. All right? So that gives me a total of $44,000 a year. And then these are the numbers that I'm going to start adding that people didn't hear in my other videos. When you become full retirement age, the year, which is going to be 2025 for me, because I'm going to be full retirement age at 66 and 8 months. So I only have to wait till the month of August, because my birthday's in December. And so in 2025, the month of August, I'll be 66 and 8 months old. And because I'm going to be turning full retirement age that year, the Social Security Administration lifts the earnings cap from the 23,000. Remember, it's going to be more, but we're going to say it stays. We're going to say it never goes up. And we're going to talk about what it is now. Let's say I was turning full retirement age August of 2024. I would be able to earn from the 23,000, 59,000 59,000, where did I put it at here? I got it somewhere. $59,500 is what you can make the year you become, yeah, I didn't write it down, but it's $59,500. The year, and then that month on August, then all bets are off. I can make anything I want without jeopardizing my Social Security. So let's say that in 2025, I know I'm going to be, full retirement age that year, and I know I can make $59,500, and it's probably going to be like in the low 60s by then, but let's keep it at the 59.5. Remember, we're freezing everything. If I make that 59.5 in 2025, that's $38,500 more than I'm making this year, last year, next year. And if I divide that over the time when I started collecting my Social Security at 62 to that year, that actually works into the average of an additional $7,700 you can work into the average that I'm actually making. Okay? So now, instead of making $44,000 a year, that $38,500 that I made more on my full retirement age year, I'm now on average making $51,700 a year. So it's like a forced savings. So in 2025, when I make the bigger money that I'm allowed to make, put that into what I was making of only 23, divide it by the 5 years, and my average income would have been $51,700 annually by collecting my Social Security from the earliest age, day one, 62 years old. Not bad, not bad, because I can make 23 grand a year, and so can you, like falling out of bed, okay? And you're going to make the $21,000 a year free. So you're making $44,000, and then when you can make more money by 2025, making 60 grand, remember that's the national average divided by every salary in America, divided by everybody that works. So there you go. You're going to make 60 grand if you want to. and you can work however much you want to make it. And that will then, of course, put money back in your average thing. Follow along with me now. And we're up to 51.7. That's what we have averaged from 62 to 67 years old by working this much and collecting free money and living your life, doing what you want to do, having the ability without worrying about going to bed early, got to get up early, fighting traffic, all the extra maintenance and fuel that you would burn annually in a car driving to work, the anguish, the stress on your health, the lack of time to go to a gym, the lack of vacation days. You would only get a week or two a year. 2 weeks is a long time for most workers. They don't even get a week. So you're working all the time, and you've just worked. And you've already worked most of your life because, that's all you've been doing. And then you've gotten older. You've gone from an analogy I give all the time. Think of a 12-year-old and a 17-year-old. Look at the difference between a 12-year-old kid and a 17-year-old adolescent. There's like a mile difference, right? One still requires the parents to take care of every single need for them. Maybe not change their diaper anymore, but pretty much everything else. A 17-year-old is already graduated high school, working, driving, can do their own thing. They're a young adult. They're an adolescent. They're on their way. Well, from 62 years old until your full retirement age of 67 years old, there's a same spread. You go from peaking and ready to really get it on and do what you want to do, and you are finally, your ship's come in, you've saved a few bucks, you've worked 30 or 40 years, you've raised your family, your kids are grown and gone, and now, you bought a home, you got some equity in it, you decide to sell and cash in, you got a pension, you got all of these opportunities at 62 years old, some more than others. And you decide to postpone it all and just keep on doing what you're doing. Just keep on going to that job. Keep on being micromanaged. Keep on getting older. And then all of a sudden, all that stress and stuff starts to accumulate, all that pressure on you and all that money you're spending to go to that job and to support that vehicle and the lunch monies and the breakfast monies and the dry cleaning, and the list is a mile long of what it costs to work. That's why so many people want to sit at home now and work from home, because they're saving a fortune on work attire and lunches. They can make food at home. I mean, think about it. It's true. It's way better for people. They're seeing more of their salary by working from home. So how can you deny it? So from 62 years old, a person really ages a lot to 67. Some people look better. Some people look a lot worse. They get older, their muscles lose, they contract diseases, they even die. They just don't make it. Something happens. All kinds of things that we don't like to talk about too much as your life is coming closer to the end of it. Things can happen, and a lot of your motivation, a lot of your ideas, a lot of your maturity, your mental faculties, you start to think differently. You start to, from 62 and a 67-year-old, I know I meet people all the time, and I'm ready to go and do still and hook up my camper. I live in an RV here. I'm ready to travel the country, and I meet people that are 67. They're like, oh, I'm not looking to pull one of those things. I don't want to be trying to drive it around through a gas station, and I don't have a lot of confidence in all that anymore. Or, I'm ready to paddle out on a surfboard right now and wait on a set and jump up on a longboard and ride a wave. Maybe a lot of 67-year-olds that unfortunately contracted some kind of disease, or their hip got problems, or their knees are wearing out, their gizzards are getting tired, their hearts are getting tired, they had a heart attack at 65, and the last thing they're going to do is get out there and lay on a surfboard and paddle out through the breakers and get exhausted. So, yes, what is that worth to you? What is it worth for working and not taking it easy and roller coasting your way through the rest of your life and getting this free money, your Social Security money, your money, plus doing a little job that you can go in and, you know, be out of there at noon or 1 and hit the golf course. And if you decide to quit that and pick up something 2 or 3 months later and take yourself a little sabbatical and travel the country with an RV or your car, or just go visit your grandkids and other family members more, or whatever. All these options that you have no option when they say it's Monday. Have yourself in here. Don't be late, or you got a problem and you're in trouble. So now let's get back to that person. Okay, so I've made, no, let me get back to me. I'm making the 44 grand, and then on my full retirement age, I made that 59.5, and I averaged in that extra 38.5, and so now I'm up to 51.7 a year. What did I make? Okay, from 62 to 67 years old, by that average, I brought in my household, in my pocket, in my bank, $258,500 from the age of 62 to 67. Over $250,000. And that was working part-time all the way from 62 to 67. Not full-time, not 1 week of full-time. That was just doing what I wanted to do, and then making a little bit more, maybe working a little harder, whatever, on that final year where the cap was raised up to 59.5. So I've collected $258,500, which is that $51,700 a year from 62 to 67. And now I might be like, okay, I'm going to go back to just making, 23 or 25 grand a year because I'm getting older. Not so old that I can't work, but I don't know. I might want to just do more traveling or something like that. And so there's my life. There I am. But boy, I had a good one from 62 to 67. All right, now we're ready? We're ready to turn the page. We're ready to say the same guy, me, says, to heck with all that waiting till, drawing your money at 62. I'm one of those people making 60 grand a year right now. And I'm going to make, all I can, and then I'm going to get even more on my Social Security in 5 years at 67. So let's take a look at those numbers. Let's see how much more he's going to get. Forget all that stuff about wasting your life. I don't need life. I don't care about my health. I don't care that what happens to me or what stress works on me and causes me to leave this earth sooner than later. Because the average age is only 73 years old in America for a male. You can Google it. I know people say, oh, if you live to be 60, then you can live to be 80. If you live to be 80, then you can live to be 200. If you live to be 200, I've heard these ridiculous things. All I can tell you is, if you Google it, the average age is 73 years old for a male in the United States. Okay? And most people do die right around there, and we know many. We hear about it every day of people dying prior to becoming even full retirement age. But let's not harp on that. Let's say this guy says, I don't care about my health. I don't care about my life. I don't care about vacations. I don't care about golf. I don't care about seeing my grandkids. They get on my nerves anyway. I'm just going to work. I'm ready. It's Monday. I'm hitting the ground running. I'm headed to the job. All right, here we go. So he's got 60 grand a year coming in. He's that guy that gets the average of every salary in America divided by every worker. He's getting 60 grand. Remember earlier in the video when I said, I'll pay you 60 grand if you come to work for me? You don't think that the line would form quickly? You think people are going to be waiting out for 100 grand, 75 grand? Do you think there's that many jobs out there that are being offered that 60 grand they'd turn their nose up to? I don't think so. So you're one of these guys that's getting 60 grand, or gals, right? So you got 60 grand a year coming in, and you're working from 62 to 67. Guess how much money you made? Well, the math is simple. 6 times 5 is 30. You made $300,000. Okay? 300 grand by just keep working. You forget the Social Security. But the Social Security grew. All right? Social Security grew. How much did it grow? Well, it grows $500. And if you wait till you're 67, it goes more if you go to 70. But if you wait till you're 67, like a lot of people do, then you'll get, instead of the $1,750 like I'm getting, you'll get $500 more. And plus you've already made 300 grand. So now you quit your job full time, because we're going to keep working. You get that's $27,000 a year, by the way, that you'll get for the $500 more. And so until you're 73 years old, you'll get another $162,000 on Social Security. So you made 300 grand for 5 years. Now you work, you collect your Social Security at 62. You collect your Social Security at 67. And then you die at 73. Okay? So the 6 years it took you, you drew $162,000. Okay? That's all you got. Even with $500 more, because you waited for 5 years. But you made 300 grand. All right? So we're going to total it all up. Follow with me, please. This is very important. So this worker that decided to wait until they were 67 to get the $500 extra made $300,000. And then they made $162,000 when they laid out of work and started getting their Social Security till they're 73. But they also wanted to work to supplement that, just like I do, and they wanted to make the $23,000 annually. So there's a they're not a cap. There's no cap because they're 67. They can make whatever they want, but they don't want to work more than 20 or 25 hours. They only want to make that 23 grand because they got that extra 500, remember, on their bigger check now. So they only want to make 23 grand like I was limited to make, except that final year when I became full retirement age. So they make an average with the, they make 162 grand from 67 to 73. They earn 23 grand more a year until they were 73 from 67, giving them a total of $138,000 from working. Okay, so their total is 600 grand. The 300 grand they made working from 62 to 67, the $162,000 they made on Social Security until they were 73, and the $138,000 they made picking up a part-time job until they died at 73. So they collected from 62 to 73, the average age, they collected 600 grand. Are you with me on that? So they didn't want to quit working. They wanted to keep working. They made 300 grand, got Social Security and worked, died at 73, made $600,000 even. It actually comes out to that even using these numbers. $600,000 from once they became 62 to 73. 11 years. All right? I, in the same 11 years, by starting at 62, not working, living my life, drawing my Social Security, working a little bit part-time, continuing to work, made a little extra money on my full retirement age year, and also died at 73. I drew a grand total of $568,700. So if you subtract the $568,700 that I got from the $600,000 from the guy that kept working and everything, he got $31,300 more than I did from over 11 years, from 62 to 73. We both die at 73, and the worker did get more money. Not till 80. We're counting his working years, okay? This is a different formula than the other videos I made talking about just collecting Social Security. We're counting that 300 grand this guy is going to say, why would I want to collect Social Security? I'm making 60 grand a year. Why would I want to take 21 grand a year and then work part-time and make 44 grand a year? Why would I want to play golf? Why would I want to go see my grandkids and all the things we just talked about? So at the end of the day, at 73, we're both put in the ground. We took our dirt nap. And that's a long nap, by the way. And this guy that was just hell-bent ended up making $31,300 more than I did over 11 years, which was a whole $2,845 more a year. But better yet, he made $237 more a month. That's right. So it's $237 more a month, folks. That's what you're looking at. If you want to just keep working and making 60 grand a year at 62 years old and just keep on going till you're 67, don't play golf, don't see your grandkids, don't travel, don't do anything. Be there Monday morning, be there through Friday, be there on weekends, micromanaged, pay for that gas, buy those lunches, get that dry cleaning, do all those things for 5 more years. Take all that stress in. Lose your prime years of your maturity, of when you're a real woman and a man, and you still got your faculties, and you're hitting on all 8. You haven't had to have your knees and your hips and all these things, and your gizzard's gone out, and your heart hasn't had a heart attack. You're still doing good. Praise God, like I'm doing. And you got that $237. You didn't even get the $500 more a month that you were waiting to get. You got an average of from what I got from the same year that you kept working and I quit, you got $200 more a month. Now you tell me, folks, why anybody, even for that one reason and that one reason only, would want to continue to work from the age of 62 years old, when in the world we're living in today, it's so uncertain. All the foods and everything that we eat are poisoning us. There's so many people dying earlier now. There's diseases. We just had a pandemic. There's all these reasons that you need to realize that life is not forever, and that you don't need $1 million to live. You don't need $500,000. You don't need a big house. You don't need 7 credit cards and 2 cars and all of these things. You don't need it. Okay? If you want it, that's up to you. But you really don't need it. I mean, there's ways to live. I'm living what I consider very good, the way I want to live anyway. Some people look at it like it's a low way of living, but I'm working with what I have, and I'm still doing the same. I'm doing more than people that are working. I'm sitting here in my camper right now deciding, do I want to go to the gym? Do I want to just take a drive? Do I want to go over and look at the beach? We have a beach here. I'm in Florida. Do I want to go to lunch? Do I want to go take a nap? What is it I want to do? Do I want to hit the golf course? Well, not today. We got some rain out there. But I have a lot of other options if I can't play golf. I can do all the things that I just mentioned. And what are you doing? If you're still working and you're 64, 65 years old, you haven't collected your Social Security yet, you're sitting there at the office, you might be watching this video later when you get home from your prison job. Folks, I say everything lighthearted. I'm a person with a sense of humor. If you're one of those stiff people that don't get people with a sense of humor, it's not my fault. It's your fault. I have a sense of humor. I make lots of little jokes, and I in no way disparage or condemn anyone that chooses to do what they want to do. You may have your own good reasons. The world, I've discovered since I've been making YouTube videos, is made up of a lot more different types of people than I ever imagined. And I've been in the people business my entire life. I've been in direct sales. I deal with people. And there are certain stereotypes. And there's quite a few. But I had no idea there was such an eclectic array of people that we have walking the country and walking the streets. Some of them, I don't even know how they get to work. Some people, I just don't get it. But anyway, I digress. So if you're one of these people that have critical thinking, if you look at logic, if numbers mean anything to you, if the fact that living your life and forgetting the numbers if that really means something to you. What would you be doing if you got like some kind of a pain tomorrow, today, and you go, oh, I got to take that group insurance I got, or I got to go down to urgent care, or I just need to go to the doctor. I got to go see what this is. And you go in there and they do these tests, and unfortunately some very, very, very horrific, terrible news comes back that you got it. And there's not much they can do. Then your whole mind changes. The wheels start turning. You start reflecting on your life. You start thinking about all the things you could have done. I had a reflection and kind of had an epiphany about a week ago. I made a video about it, of a lot of the time that I wasted when I couldn't collect Social Security, when I couldn't retire and I had to work, but I wasted it on other things. So if you're watching this video and you're not even close to being 62 yet, but you're wasting time in a dead-end job, a dead-end relationship, a dead-end place that you're living, a dead-end anything, or causing your life to end sooner by consuming things that aren't healthy for you, such as drugs or alcohol, or even being around the wrong people. There's so many things that are detriment to our health. And like I said a few moments ago, the foods that we're eating, the things that we buy, we don't even read labels. A lot of people do. And you're just putting this down. You're just gulping it down. And did you know this? The third leading cause of death in the United States of America is going to the doctor. Medical errors are the third leading cause from heart attack and cancer. That's the third leading cause of death. These medical errors that are being made, these pills are shoving down you, these operations they're doing, these diagnoses they're giving are speculating, and here, try this drug and try this. And you know what? It's such a business to these people in the medical field now. It's not like there's so many people in the world and in the country. They're just such a hurry. They're just running you through the office. They're not really taking the time. A lot of those medical people, they got their license. They did their 8, 10 years, whatever. It took them a long time to get their doctorate and, you know, to become a doctor. But they haven't studied a thing since. They just get these new things that are offered to them from these big pharmaceutical companies to say, hey, if you got a patient you've diagnosed with this, we say this pill is, or this liquid, this infusion will help them. And the doctor has no idea. He just takes it on their word. And what happens? They got to have these disclaimers on all the commercials, on all these pills, and all these things that people are taking now saying, okay, this can help you with your knee pain, but thoughts of suicide are a side effect. You know what I mean? It's worse than the illness that you're having. They are so terrible, and they have to disclose it because it's killing people. It's the third leading cause. Folks, if you can find natural medicines, if you can do what you can do to extend your life, and what can you do? It's simple. It's simple. It's thinking right. It's stop watching the media. It's working out at a gym or taking healthy walks. It's quitting drinking alcohol in such an extreme amount to where it's ruining your liver. It's quitting doing drugs and these terrible drugs that people are taking. Horrible. You know what I'm talking about. Horrible drugs. Okay? You don't think that that's extending your life, do you? You know that alcohol is bad for your liver, don't you? You know that watching the media is just giving you such angst that you want to go out and think that everybody that doesn't think like you doesn't deserve to live because they're on the other side of the fence. They got us all chasing each other. They got us divided. It's like wag the dog. You ever heard of that? Folks, stop and think critically. Think about what I'm saying. Forget what these naysayers tell you. Forget those investment people that want you to just keep putting money away with them so they can keep making money on you. You contact that Social Security Administration 3 months before you're going to turn 62. And you tell them you want your check. And then you quit that prison job and you get you a job without all that stress, without all that micromanaging, and you go see your grandkids. You get out there on the first tee box with me, and let's tee off, and let's laugh together, and let's have a good time. Let's get an RV and take a trip together. I'll see you at Yellowstone, at Old Faithful, and we'll take a look at the majestic mountains and Grand Canyon, and do the things that you don't have the time to do because you're at a prison job and you think you need to work. And then you say, well, I'll do all that later. I'll do all that later. In the meantime, you die, you catch something, or you don't have the motivation. Your mental faculties have changed. Everything can change. Nobody's promised tomorrow. Today's the day to start crushing it.